Hi, welcome back to another edition of Eating Sharp with Lynn Sharp. Today we're going to do the three P's. If you saw in the title, it was plant, pick, and preserve. And it's not the preserves that you think of. Today I'm going to show you how to preserve tomatoes. What you first want to do is you want to cut them in half and you want to sun dry them. So you'll cut them in half and you'll just lay them on a sheet pan or a cookie sheet out in the sun until they're dried almost too crispy. And what you'll get from that is you'll get something like this. They're a little leathery type, but they're all intact. Then you want to get some jars. I like the little half-pint jars because once you open it and start using it after you seal it, it's good for about 6 months. And so if you get a big jar and you're cramming all these tomatoes in there, you're going to have them go bad before you use them all up. So you want to clean and sanitize your jars, your rings, and your lids prior to this whole process. Now I'm going to add some fresh basil that I picked up. And first what you want to do is put a layer of the tomatoes down in the bottom of the jar. Just spread them out like this. You know, doing this reminds me of doing canning with my mother. We would can everything from tomatoes to cherries to pears to peaches, all kinds of stuff. So then you'll take a leaf of the basil and you'll make a little, just like a covering, like you're going to cover these guys up with the basil. So you put these leaves down in there. Of course, I've washed and cleaned the basil before doing this as well. You don't want dirty basil going into this. And this also makes good novelty type Christmas gifts. You know, holidays are going to be coming up, and this shows a little bit of yourself to your friends. You're putting a little love into it. So you put just a layer of the basil down like that, and then you're going to put another layer of the tomatoes. Now you can do any type of herb you like. If you like tarragon, thyme, any kind of fresh herb you can put in with your tomatoes after they're dried, of course. And so then we're going to put another layer of basil on here. The basil is really good, really goes good with tomato type products. So we'll put the basil in here. You know, canning with my mother, we were canning at a very, very early age. My first memories of is canning with my mom. So we'll put another layer of tomatoes and you'll just push them in. It doesn't matter, just squeeze them into your jar. And I think I'm just going to go 2 layers. Get all these guys in here. Squeeze them down as tight as you can get them in there. Just like that. They'll be just like a little rubbery, bouncy type of a feeling. Okay? Now we're going to take olive oil. And you want to pour your olive oil in. This olive oil is going to reconstitute the tomatoes just enough so that when you bring them out of your jar after you let them sit a while, it's going to reconstitute them so that they are pliable and ready to use. Now you want to fill it up to about 1/4 of an inch or less from the top. And get your seal on there and your ring. Okay? Just hand tight. It doesn't have to be total tight. That's what you'll do. Do that with all your tomatoes. Take a break. I'm going to get set up with some other things that I've grown out of my garden, and we're going to do the same thing with it. So take a break. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I told you earlier, we are preserving what we planted and picked. So the habanero, which is the hottest pepper out on the market, I grow in my backyard. I'm not going to cut these because I don't want the oil onto my hands. I'm going to get enough oil from just touching them after they've dried. But you'll cut those in half. You'll lay those out on a sheet pan just like you did the tomatoes, and you'll let them dry over several days. Now, I think they took mine probably about 5 days, and the tomatoes earlier was about 3 to 4 days to get them nice and dry. So you'll cut them up. They'll come out like this. They're again, rubbery. Now you want to remember when you're handling peppers that have any heat to it, not to touch your eyes or your face or to wear gloves. And I'm not wearing gloves today, so I'm not going to be touching my eyes or my face. Now if you do touch your eyes and you get that burning sensation from the capsaicin oils in the pepper, get an eyedropper, fill it with milk, cold milk, and put eye drops of milk into your eyes, and it will neutralize the burning effects from the pepper. Okay, so we'll do the same thing with these. We'll put a layer. In fact, I'm not going to put any. Excuse me. The air from the peppers is even a little strong from the habaneros. So I'm not going to put any herbs with these because I don't want to mask the flavor of the habanero. But I'm going to pack these in here as tight as you can. And I'll probably get 2 jars out of this. This was 1 sheet pan of habaneros that I dried. Well, let me see if I can get them all in there. If I can get them all in there, it's even better. Just want to push them in. The tighter the pack, the better they be. So just push them all in there as good as you can. Oh, lost one over the edge. One escaped. That's okay. We'll get him later. Put him in the stew or something. Just like this. Nice and packed tight. Now I left the stems on so you have something to pick when you go to pick them out or handle. Again, get you a nice olive oil. Fill it up to about 1/4 inch from the top. You want to pour slow because you don't want to have that flow over. Waste your olive oil. Good money olive oil. Bubbles are coming up. I can see a couple there. We'll fill it just a little bit more. And then you'll want to put your sealed or your cleaned lid on there. And, oops, I don't have a ring. Aha! Here's my ring. My ring's over here. And you just want to put it on hand tight. You don't want to really put it down or squeeze it on because we do have to do another process with these. Okay, so I'm going to get set up with one more thing. And you guys take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Earlier we did the yellow pear tomatoes. I showed you how to put them in the jar, and we also did the habaneros and we put those in the jar. I also have dried some sliced and whole serrano peppers and some Anaheim peppers. And so we're going to add these together, all together with they're all going to go into the bowl together. So we'll put these guys in here. We'll put these whole ones in here. And we'll put these sliced ones. Now, I dried these the same way. Some of them I dried whole, and some of them I sliced and put in there. And I think this time, just to be a little sassy, I am going to put some basil in with these, just to experiment and see how these are going to turn out when I open them up to use them. And I'm going to put the basil right on the top. It doesn't really matter if you don't have them down underneath because they're going to get covered with oil. And as they sit, that oil, the basil flavor will infuse into that oil. So then again, we're going to fill this till about 1/4 of an inch away from the top of the jar. Just like that. Now, well, I'll tell you that in just a minute. I was almost going to jump the ball here, and I decided not to. So let's put the lid on here. We'll squeeze this down. Next, we're going to have to boil these, and I'll get set up with that, and I'll bring you guys back in, and I'll show you how to boil these up, and so that they'll seal up and be preserved for you over the winter time and even into next summer. So take a break. I'll get the water going on the stove, and we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. Now we've filled our jars, we've tightened the lids on them, and now we need to seal them and so that they'll stay preserved. So the first thing I did is I put these old lids down in the bottom of my pan because this isn't a regular canning setup. If you have a regular canning setup, great for you. But I want to show people how they can do things their own way at home and not have to buy such expensive equipment. So you put the lids right down in on, whoops, that one's sliding off, excuse me, let me rearrange those, right down on to the lids, just like this. Now we're going to fill this so it's about an inch, half an inch to an inch covered with water. We're going to put the lid on it, we're going to bring it to a boil, and we're going to time it for about 20 minutes. While that's happening, you guys take a break and we'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. Now they boil for about 20 minutes. I've just turned the power off here. We're going to get these guys out of here, and we're going to go right to a towel. And what you want to do is just let them sit on the towel until they cool. As they cool, you will hear the lids pop. They will pop down. The lids are up right now, and as they cool, they'll pop down so they're concave. That's the way you know that it's sealed. If they don't seal, don't redo this process. Just make sure you put those right into the fridge and use them first. They should last in your fridge a good 4 to 6 months, and also sealed, they should last a good year or so. So until next time, this is Lynn Sharp with Eating Sharp and Eat Well. Bye-bye.